Hey everybody, I'm Nico.
And I'm TK.
And that does make this X's for Comics, Premier Media Comics Response Show. You guys know the deal. We love doing this. We love being here. It's a Wednesday. Let's talk some comics. We're deep into we're 1 week. We're deep into our summer of amalgam, baby, where we're going to be talking every Marvel DC crossover to ever be canon. And we're going to keep going at it. And this week, we're doing X-Men and Titans.
Kind of the dream teams.
Yeah, kind of like this is what Katy Perry, when she was still the Benny Blanco puppet, was singing about.
These are the teenage dreams.
Yeah, and now they're old, which is fun. No. They're so old. But yeah, we got a lot on the plate. The plate it full, it runneth over. But in addition to the runneth over that is what we were already going to discuss, they decided to throw some nonsense our way earlier today, and we got a news announcement that we got to discuss.
Yeah, we do.
It would appear to me that we have an X-Men event on its way.
We do have the new Age of Apocalypse.
No, stop calling it that. Stop giving into the narrative. This is like when CNN calls fucking Task Force the new police. This is not what we're here for. Stop normalizing it. He's not the new Apocalypse. This is not New Age of Apocalypse. This is
what's
very
wild
cool on Gaff.
What's very wild is that's what the announcement says from Adventures in Portes, which got the exclusive again. And honestly, like, yes, you're right. I'm honestly would kind of blame it on them because that is a copy issue. I was pulling from literally what is at the top of their page. I'm not like poo-pooing you for yelling at me, but they wrote Age of Apocalypse.
I didn't mean to yell at you.
No. It's they wrote Age of Apocalypse, and what it is Age of Revelation, the heir of Apocalypse, and we're also doing X years from today. So like the announcement we got is the Age of Revelation 0 written by Jed McKay, which does literally just look like Age of Apocalypse, slightly different. A little Ryan Stegman filter on. I'm never not going to call him Ryan Stegron. And that he does not go to every con dressed up is unfair. And so we got that cover announcement, which does show both Apocalypse and vaguely Revelation, because the Revelation that we've seen really doesn't look like that, but whatever. We had gotten the announcement about X years of today with no books announced, but then today we get this announcement of both, and we get the announcement of 16 comics, 16 series. I think we can all agree these are not going to be ongoings. I don't even think these are going to be 10 issues, but
no. I'd love to see what happens. I'd love to see how many of these carry over.
Under the X years from today banner, we got Amazing X-Men, Unbreakable X-Men, Binary, Cloak and Dagger, Long Shots, not just one, there's plural, Omega Kids, Sinisters 6, as in Mr. Sinister's 6, and Undeadpool. In the Age of Revelation bracket, we got Expatriate X-Men, The Last Wolverine, Iron Frost, Laura Kinney Sabretooth, Radioactive Spider-Man, Rogue Storm. It pains me to even have to say this one. X-Vengers, and last but not least, X-Men: Book of Revelation.
Well, now, I actually thought it was X years from today, the Age of Revelation. And this is all of the X titles are going to get replaced with these. So Amazing X-Men probably replaces Uncanny, Unbreakable, maybe the regular one, Expatriate, the Kitty and Emma one. Binary probably replaces Phoenix. Laura Kinney Sabretooth. I can't imagine what that one replaces. Omega Kids is probably going to roll over into some kind of whatever the new kid book is going to be. And this is going to be this. But this is the thing. They're using us. They're using us, TK.
And they're going to fail. They have already failed. I mean, we all remember the great story of our generation in comics. One of the great stories of our generation in comics is that we got 4 issues of you and I are a little different on this one. Again, you had a comics dad, I did not. For me, because I started like literally when I could read, so the timing doesn't work out. I'm 40, timing doesn't work out for this. My teen team is Generation X, because the New Mutants were fully X-Force by the time I could really understand comics. They were fully not students anymore. They had become paramilitary child soldiers and did not go to school and weren't like, what do we do? Should we try masturbating together? No, they were past that period of their lives. And it was new children. My children were Generation X. Generation X had 4 issues, and then it was Age of Apocalypse.
Yep.
Which was, to me, the most mind-blowing thing in the world, because at that time, comics, there weren't a lot of minis. Like, there weren't a lot of comics got picked up and then went on for dozens, if not hundreds of issues. And that was basically all you had. So the idea that you would have a book do 4 issues and then change in any capacity was wild to me. It was completely insane. So, like Omega Kids could be NYX, except NYX is officially completely done.
Yep.
Binary being Phoenix makes sense on a lot of levels because it's literally the Phoenix wings.
And she's in the dang book.
Is she?
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything but this.
Oh no, I mean like she's in Phoenix.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Carol's in Phoenix. So like
Yeah. We have time for something to be new. Like I was trying to look through and see like if there's anything coming out in July or August that could be running and then go away to become this. And I don't know that we have anything like that, but like, yeah, Rogue Storm could definitely just be a pause in the Storm book. I think for the most part, I'll be interested to see where we get, particularly with Storm and Phoenix, because both of those are... Storm could do 10, 11, and 12 and then be done. And Phoenix is at 12. It could go to 15 and be done. Then it could do these and then they could start new, but they could not come back as either or restart as something else.
And I'm so glad you said it that way, because that gives me a great quick to break in. We're going to be talking about pretty much some version of Uncanny 12 through 17, X-Men 14 through 19, Exceptional X-Men 18 through 10. I'm sorry, 8 through 10. What are numbers? NYX 8 through 10. The giant-sized diseases that have come out so far, which is X-Men, Dark Phoenix Saga, Age of Apocalypse, Cable, Love, Chrome, and A Waste of My Time 1 through 5. Magik 1 through 7, Phoenix 1 through 12, Storm 1 through 9, Emma Frost, the White Queen, number 1. Why did we do this? Number 2, I guess this was a fine issue. Weapon X 1 through 5, and X-Men, the Hellfire Vigil, which if I wrote as X-Men Hellfire Virgil one more time, and now I'm obsessed with Hellfire Virgil. He's just a member of the Hellfire team, and he's a fun guy.
Yep.
I can barely contain myself about some of this. Some of this I can't wait to not talk about. But like, I want to say that like it's kind of hard to match these up one for one. So I don't even want to. But like, I feel like if I have a big, I'm kind of sorry that it's even gotta happen. Is I'm mad that Exceptional X-Men already had Sinister come back, and then I see Sinister's name here already. I feel like as much as I want to like Exceptional X-Men, number one, I don't love the book. I love the spirit of the book. I love the vibe. And like, I recommend if you're a vibe reader, then you pick this up. If you're somebody who loves the Infinity comics that Marvel publishes, like Marvel Voices, Exceptional X-Men is the book for you. It, for me, is a book that Fifi's a little harder than I think these characters make sense Fifiing to have Sinister be the bad guy.
Except I don't even know that you could call him the bad guy.
Because it was a random Sinister clone, yeah.
and not really much happened. I realized, because I was like, I messaged you about it, and I was like, I'm having trouble catching up on these because just not feeling it. And you said, I'm not feeling it either, but I feel like I have coherent thoughts now and not just it bad. And I was like, okay, I got to meet Nico at not just it bad. I got to figure this out. And I was really trying to like come up with a thesis, like an idea, something that I could say besides it bad. And like, I was really examining each one and trying to figure out like, what are the actual critiques I have? And I do have a lot, and we could get into it. But I do think the conclusion that I came to that is simpler than it bad, but is like kind of a solid just conclusion to this whole thing is these 3 books combined, the best of each could make a fantastic book. McKay actually has some really good meta plot structural ideas, some really, really big ideas about like what the X-Men could be doing, should be doing, like who the broad villain should be, what those villains should want, what a twist it will be. Like, 3K is a little silly what the revelation is, but it's not the worst thing I've read in X-Men history. And it goes into X-Men villain camp in a way that I'm like, yeah, sure. Eve Ewing writes really good feelings. She writes really good teammate feelings. She writes really good interpersonal relationships.
Queen.
Gail, oh my God, Gail, I love you so much. I'm not so much vibing with this book, but I do have to
crazy. I love the Dark Artery. What the fuck is? We were just all on a magic swamp now.
I mean, like I would like it in a different ecosystem, which ecosystem, pin in that word because we got to get back to it. The art in Uncanny is exceptional. So if you had the art from Uncanny, if you had Eve Ewing really writing the characters' emotional dialogue and Jed McKay plotting a big story, and it contained all of the elements of these 3 books, you would have one great X-Men book.
I love your thesis very much. I think I would say the main thing that all of the books need is a huge switch in casts. They are somewhat held back by their casts, but I think McKay's cast is too powerful. I don't know that anybody could write that.
I only don't agree because we do that all the time. I think he's not writing it well. And like, because other people have had stronger casts than that one. I mean, Jean's not even here. And Jean was in 2 of the Krakoan X-Men teams, 3 of them. And Rogue was too. I mean, like the Krakoan X-Men teams were insanely overpowered, and yet somehow it mostly worked. It definitely, I think, worked better than this. I think he did it again with this most recent arc, McKay. Oh no, a team has shown up and they are 1-for-1, a challenge for our team.
The 3M X-Men, they're a post-it and you can't stop their envelopes and their highlighters or whatever.
Oh no, how will I fight this guy when his power is an exact match for mine? Oh shoot. 2 issues later, we figure it out. We do a team switch up. The only new thing he added, which was a very funny, and again, kind of spoke to like, he sees bigger picture stuff better. Like he knows X-Men history and comics history and how things work. The fact that one of the fights ended with Cyclops saying, hey, if you just step back, they're going to fight each other because this is such chaos. Like I've seen this happen with villains all the time. They're all so aggressive that if you let them annoy each other, they will fight each other and then we can fight them. That was a very funny bit. And it did speak to like, because I'm going to be hard on McKay while we're talking about this, but I'm never trying to say like these people are bad at writing comics and I could do the job and they can't, but there was so much with this book I didn't connect with and I felt didn't work. And more than anything, the thing that I always come back to is like, where are harsh editors? I admit that I've done little publishing in my life, but not zero. And I have existed in a world where editors will say, this isn't good. go make it good and then I will publish it. And it often feels like the job of Marvel editors is to just get you to submit a script that they can get on the way. And like, it does not need to be good. It does not need to it can have like huge factual continuity errors. Nobody's going to check. Nobody's going to tell you can't say that thing. Nobody's going to tell you've got to create a second mastermind daughter because our editorial team has determined the first one actually is somewhere and you can't have her because somebody else already has her. No, just you can do whatever you want. She's in 2 places at once. Don't even worry about it. This is not the worst thing I've ever read, but it does feel like nobody read it and went, this is a great idea here. This idea over here, not so great. You have to fix the not so great idea.
And, I really do agree with you about how it isn't that this team is too powerful. For me, it's that the characters are being presented in their most Omega level selves. Yeah. And that is where it is kind of a problem. You're totally right. It's about the presentation. And I'm also not saying that these writers are untalented. I completely agree with you that, as a guy who's done some publishing in his life, and again, enough to get an editor to tell me I'm an idiot, I am confident in my ability to assess a story, at least for my own sake. And for my own sake, I think the X-Men story is a little too disjointed. I didn't love Magneto driving a Sentinel. That was just kind of like hammy.
I could let it go. The problem starts before that with Adderall X.
Yeah. We all remember when Denny Crane got addicted to Adderall, and that was one thing. But I'm sorry, Magneto is no Denny Crane.
And
so,
listen, you've made us suffer through Mpox, through so many things, X or M. I'll do it. Literally, the pharmaceutical name for one of the 3 big ADHD medications, -X, is not Denny Crane, still cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Thank you, Kevo. Denny Crane. Rest in peace, William Shatner. Yeah, you can't just list medication names and put X and say X. Like, no, I will not be going and having half a lorazepam X after this.
Yeah, no, I agree. I also want to say that the most slap the book moment I've had in a really long time, and trust me, I write book slappingly dumb things, was when Kitty was like, XS Essex, obviously this plan was sinister all along. And I was like, this is a leap too far.
I mean, again, it's another thing where I'm like, if she'd said that name sounds weird 2 issues before and then went, why am I so dumb? Why did it take me 2 issues to get here? I could have let it go. But the fact that it is within 3 word bubbles.
Also, we got a lot of kids. We do. And I will sit through kids. And sorry, you had more to say.
Oh, but no, let's, we're vibing. It's a good vibe. It's a moment, right? But I just monologued. I would have kept monologuing because, we have a lot of kids.
I like the Uncanny Kids more than the Exceptional Kids. The Exceptional Kids, for me, kind of read like the kids that are in the book that gets accessed in the crossover, not the book that the crossover is about. And so, like, they have an ancillary feel, and I don't know what's going on, if that's like it's on purpose, but like none of them have, and I'm not trying to hurt Ms. Cracker's byline, but none of these kids have star quality, and like it's frustrating. Whereas the kids in Uncanny have too much star quality. It's a little too zhuzhy, and so like, it's sort of like one time, and I love bringing this up. One time somebody said to my college best friend, oh man, I would love if I met a person in real life who had as many comebacks and quips as Veronica Mars or Lorelai Gilmore. And he just goes, no, you wouldn't. It's my best friend. And it's just really annoying in person. And so like, it is a little bit, you want to push them out of the tree. And so, I don't know. I think it's really fascinating that, You've got two different kinds of Evitas giving star quality, and neither one of them is Madonna or Patti LuPone.
You mixed your Drag Race metaphors there, by the way.
Oh,
star quality is Candy Muse yelling at Tamisha Iman. You're not a star is Asia O'Hara.
Oh my god! Oh my god! And then
the worst part is that I know that.
No, that's the best part by far. That is glorious. That is vainglorious even. Thank you so much, because like, as a person who like almost couldn't breathe when they met Asia, I should know this. I should. And thank you so much for setting that free to fly in my mind.
What's weird is I don't know who the star of Exceptional is, because it's not like Emma or Kitty or Bobby, which is, by the way, could be the best team, but like something about the way they're getting used, like that's the weirdest triumvirate. Kitty, for one thing, Eve does not see Kitty and Emma the way I do, or the way that they were seen before, like literally a year of publishing ago. Emma is who pulls Kitty out of her egg when Kitty dies, and Kitty hugs her like mother, older sister, best friend lady. They've been through everything. He's a garbage person, but Joss Whedon got them to astonish Miss Pride, like one of the most beautiful moments in the history of comics, cried. And he got us there from them threatening to kill each other. And since then, they have become best friends and working partners. Great, awesome, really cool. They don't feel like that in this. Meanwhile, that's another woman that Bobby has just completely fucked up by being a homosexual who dated this person for too long. And now she's also gay. So it's wildly funny. They're both an absolute mess. And then you tack onto it that there was a very hot second where Emma absorbed Bobby's body, used his powers better than he could, told him essentially that she knew his secret. Bobby also definitely was fucking her brother. I mean, like, these three people are incestuous and layered with history. And I guess I'm almost admonishing myself at this point for saying that Eve Ewing is good at writing feelings, because while she has missed this font of like the book about these three people
who can all become transparent.
This is soap opera to a T. Then we have a fourth person, that kid who can also become transparent.
Oh my god.
And they're her trans parents.
Somebody get Jeffrey Tambor an Emmy and then a lawsuit.
So the three of them should be the majority of the book. But I can get saying, no, they shouldn't. It should be the kids, which would be fine, except for then you got to write some really good kids, and I don't feel like we're there. I like a bunch of where we are with the kids. I would take 30 to 45% of the book being about them as it is right now. Totally good. I think there are some notes that get lost based on the fact that they are siloed in Chicago. It's the three of them. They're not X-Men specifically. They have no mission statement. Like, Emma and Kitty are just harboring three kids in a gym to make sure they don't get into too much trouble. And that's just not quite X-Men. That's without your glasses on, the vague blob of what X-Men is. But when you put on lenses and focus it up, it's usually a school or like some kind of organization.
There's some injustice somewhere.
There's outfits involved, and there's usually a better villain than XS. Oh, SX. Oh, it's Mr. Sinister. Now we're gonna yell at each other in a basement.
There's Pride hears ass sex and she immediately thinks of Mr. Sinister. Great.
And then Bobby shows up, of course.
Hey guys, I'm hosting Drag Race Canada this week. Hey.
There's goo. Yeah, lots of goo. Okay.
It's a gooey time.
It's a very gooey time. So, like, I mean, like, the thing that I loved about the Hellfire Vigil was that everybody was talking to each other and being friends, especially the kids. But the fact that the kids were all talking to each other and knew each other was great, except then it pointed to the biggest problem with all the books.
Which is that it felt like all of the dialogue could have been said by Jojo Siwa?
Well, I mean, yes, but no, it's that they're not, like, the disparate nature of each group of people feels like, I mean, it feels like a complete mistake for what the X-Men are. It doesn't, it's too late to pitch anything or say what it should or shouldn't be, and I have no idea where we're going. It really feels like this could have been a Brevoort thing, but Charles saying, do whatever you want, but by God, don't start another school, was just such a curse on this line. I guess it doesn't need to be a school, although why wouldn't you? Schools are places of learning and education. It's where kids grow up. It's where so much great X-Men stuff has happened. I think the idea that it shouldn't be a school is terrible. But they do all need to have a central location, even if they're not all there all the time. Even if, X-Force is always out in the field and never on base, they need to all be at a base that they go to and they're all welcome, and that all the kids are at, that all the kids are regularly seeing each other, because it works better when there's just 3 of them talking to each other all the time and they're never talking to anybody else. Or in the other book, when it's just 4, they start to get really repetitive and boring and stupid, and I don't care. Those 2 girls in Gail Simone's book are just saying I love you to each other over and over again. I love you, my horse. I love you, my horse. My horse is dead. I love you, my horse.
Oh my God, I could tell that your horse was dead, but I didn't want to say anything to anybody because I'm kind of gooey and dead. So much goo.
So much goop. And then that kid's just always like, yeah, everything's dead.
Oh my God. And then the one girl who listen, that I have it, but like,
well, I don't know if she's stuttering or if
how do you stammer in lettering like that?
I'm really not clear if it's a stutter, because I think a stutter in comics is letter dash word.
Well, my dear, you do not know me, but I know you very well.
But what she's doing seems to be, because she's jittery, like it seems to be like she's talking too fast, she's too much coffee. And they do it with Surge. Like Surge talks really fast and talks in like one whole block of text that has no spaces. I don't know what's going on with her either, but she definitely, I can always tell when she tells Horse Girl 2.0 I love you. Great. And then that other one, his only 2 moments are revealing that Bobby is his cousin, even though they are from completely different South American countries. And he's in a relationship with Edie, which is cool, which is great. I love that. That was a beautiful moment in the Hellfire Vigil, but that's the only time Edie's been interesting, because Gemma K doesn't write her very well, and it's the only time Ransom has been interesting.
You know who's stupid? Wire's stupid. Sorry.
No, please. I only realized doing the reread for this, is Wire previous character?
I don't believe so.
Okay, talk.
And I just keep thinking that he's like, he looks kind of like Cable, and his name is kind of like Cable.
Yeah.
So I think he's a dark Cable. There's a dark Xavier. We're going to find out whoever's under the helmet.
Oh, yeah. No, okay. Yes, he is. Alpha Flight. He was in Alpha Flight at one point.
Oh, great. I'm so glad they're pulling from major characters.
Yeah, in 1992. So 22 appearances. Let's just confirm how many of these. Okay, so he was in 16 issues of Alpha Flight, and then this.
Oh, yeah. That's my favorite. Yeah, you know who else was really cool? Nosferatu, who Blade, who showed up in Uncanny. today.
Oh yeah, being racist. Yeah. Oh no, he was cool. Elsa Bloodstone was racist, which was the worst thing I've ever read. Justice for Elsa Bloodstone. Sweet Jonah. I'm sorry if you had to read that. That was non-canonical. Elsa Bloodstone is not racist. She would not say I'm just asking questions. Yeah. So this is the thing. I think McKay's crowning achievement at Marvel, and I do mean this, it's going to sound like I'm being slightly insulting, but I'm not. I think that he could have a huge contribution to Marvel, really do something different and unique by shoring up the Canadaverse. I'm not kidding at all. His Alpha Flight is always really good. I do think, like, sometimes there's a little bit of a je ne sais quoi and a magic to a writer and a group, and like can be the je ne sais quoi. They're from that country.
Do you mean je ne sais quoi and Magik?
French Quebec.
Quebec is what?
This is he's clearly got a bit of a thing for them because he is Canadian. I take Alpha Flight seriously as an idea. I think Marvel doesn't treat Alpha Flight very seriously because we kind of have this thing of like America is the military and where all of the warriors would be, and Canada is silly.
No one's made them modern cool yet.
Nobody's made the modern cool. Exactly. Like, and nobody has said like, well, you know, because we're borderless. It doesn't fucking matter. Superheroes can travel around the world multiple times. People can teleport. It doesn't really matter that they're from Canada. But also, like, another part of it is Department H. We've never done a great really reassessment of Department H being a part of the Weapon X program, being a part of the Weapon Plus program, being like, you know, a part of the Morrison legacy. Like, there's still so much to be mined there. But I really do feel like I would take a flagship Alpha Flight book by Jed McKay and read it with joy, and like to make them like, no, we're not fucking around. They're as serious as the Avengers. They're just not the Avengers. I would read the shit out of that book, and I really do think he would write it well. I think he would write every character who has been Canadian. Every time he does it, it's great. Wire, I'm not into. It's like, I like conceptually the idea of 3K. I really like, and once I finally got it, which the drip of the reveal, maybe not my fave. Again, edit. But I like the reveal. Like, he has good ideas, and if he wants to use this guy from Alpha Flight because he liked Alpha Flight because he was Canadian, that's really cool. And I don't mind that he has a villain that I feel like is a little weak if the rest of the stuff is good, but there's a lot of weak stuff. Wire is really connected to a smart idea, but a poor reveal. And then when he really gets involved, there's like 30 villains all at once.
Yep.
There's a meat baby that's yelling at the X-Men with Cassandra Nova yelling at the meat baby, also yelling at the X-Men.
And her mom is like, here's your name. And she's like, oh, then maybe I'm not a meat baby.
Her super racist mom, also a villain. I'm throwing her in the mix. The villainous X-Men by 3K show up. 3K is also having side meetings.
The sequel to B2K.
Please. It's just a lot for very little payoff or results.
And that's also how I felt about the Hellfire Vigil in general. It just really felt like a lot of build up and not a lot of giving back. It just really kind of fell flat. And that is, I think, a result of me not vibing with so many of the threads that are coming together. Not to mention, when I saw Banshee and Siren, I was like, what the fuck is happening now? I don't understand what is happening.
I know we're not reading Astonishing the Infinity comic, and I still don't know why Banshee is back. And I haven't looked because I, in part, don't want to know what happened to my precious Vox Ignis, the spirit of variance, that was possessing Banshee, and I don't want to lose that. But I'm gonna have to get up soon because we're also gonna be having Spirits of Violence.
Oh yeah.
So
right.
We got Ghosts to ride. Yeah, I mean, I also felt Hellfire Gala was kind of rude. if Krakoa meant something to you, if it was a symbol of sort of minority liberation and the dream of minority joy, whether that's queer joy, whether that's black joy, and disabled life joy, like any joy that you experience as a minority, and the dream of coming together with your people. That was the best of Krakoa. Publishing wise, it didn't always work. Stories didn't always work. The galas were always so cool. Up till the third one ruined it all. But like the lead up to the third one was even cool, because again, it was the fashion. It was the idea that we would have a party. As a queer person that like found a lot of community through the Krakoan era and through things like the galas. Just the queer joy of the queer party was so much of the fun. And everything that they have done since Fall of X has been to say no joy for you people. None of this, like, dream of this, hope for it, but we're not giving it to you. And so then to do like here's a little taste if you'll buy it for $5.99. Felt really cynical. Lanzig and Kelly were never really a part of it. This really was Nick's issue 11, which is fine. But again, their ideas about stuff are really siloed, just like everybody else's are, just like Eve Ewing's are and Gail Simone's are. They did a very admirable job of trying to get people talking and crossing wires. And, they had the kids meeting up, and that's really cute and cool. But since we never do it, it felt disjointed and sort of like a promise that could never really be kept.
And I'm so glad that you brought up that this was basically NYX number 11, because like between this, the giant size features, I wonder if the giant size thing was supposed to coincide with the Hellfire Vigil. And maybe maybe it was meant to be like a big event, and that was going to be NYX Volume 3, the way that X Factor by Leah Williams and David Baldion became Trial of Magneto. Maybe this was meant to be that, and it was better repurposed. But on that same topic, I feel kind of gutted because I came out swinging hard for giant size X-Men. And it is not turning into what I wanted. Some of it feels cool, some of it feels like a time buy, some of it feels like a money grab. Ultimately, what's weird for me is I still don't understand Kamala's new power. And that
feels like the biggest time buy. I don't think they do either.
Yeah. And it feels like it's not meant to do anything. It feels like it's just facilitative. And I don't know.
Yeah. This was another, you did come out strong for it. And this was, I feel like this started the trend of me being like, I think your ideas are better than what's going to come up, bud. Like, the idea that last week or 2 weeks ago we read Giant Size Age of Apocalypse, and today we know we are returning to the Age of Apocalypse as Age of Revelation, but these two things do not feel related. They do not feel like they are going to have any kind of connection.
No, and Age of Apocalypse is going to be coming out around the same time anyway in that new Age of Apocalypse mini.
Yep. And yeah, it feels like these things are not connected at all, like editorially, like meta plot wise. It's just, can we milk blood from the Age of Apocalypse name and idea from that stone? I mean, I guess you probably can. Like, it's your best bet, because doing the books you're doing now, they're clearly not successful, because we keep doing this thing of like, oh, it'll go on forever, and it doesn't go on that long. We know they don't sell that well. So sure, if you just want to squeeze, go for it, I guess. But like, yeah, Giant Size, I mean, the thing that we talked about was like, this was a really good way to integrate Kamala into the X-Men's history. And we talked about the centrification of it, the Bob, he's always been there, you just didn't know, he made you forget, but now we can always talk about it. And we talked about how, like, the disappointing thing about that was that Marvel said it, and they established, like, from now on, basically everybody will say the Sentry was always there, even if they remember that he wasn't. Even if they find out that he wasn't, they'll say, like, well, my memories are always that. That's what happened with Dawn. Like, they say in Buffy all the time, they know that Dawn wasn't actually there, but they also refer to the memories because everybody has the memories. And while they have the knowledge that she wasn't there, they don't experience that.
And just to even, like, a weird example that's not even quite supernatural, but there's a thing that happens in season 1 of The West Wing that happens to a character, Mandy, who disappears, that they just vaguely reimagine in season 6 happen to CJ instead, because it's easier and they want to do a thing as a follow-up. And so they just make this thing that happened to Mandy vaguely a similar, almost identical thing at just about the right time have happened to CJ instead.
Right. We'll sit through it. We'll allow it, but there has to be you got to do it, and there has to be a point to it. And so it felt like they were saying, like, here's our way to put Kamala into the X-Men universe because we're making her a mutant, and that's difficult to do. She's one of the most important young characters in Marvel history, but she's not really important to the X-Men. It's kind of difficult to pave over, especially when you've got, like, your young mutants are like Laura Kinney and Magik, and people are kind of like, well, but Magik's been around since, you know, the 70s. We saw Colossus. The first appearance of Colossus is also the first appearance of Ilyana. Like, she's such an important character. Why am I going to give up treating her like an important younger mutant to do that for Kamala? Well, here's a good reason. Here's this series of stories that kind of say, like, she was always part of it. And I don't think it's that. I just think it's like, hey, what if we took little vignettes from what we imagine were cool stories, or stories you guys would think were cool, and we, you know, put this decal of Kamala on top of some of the, you know, some of the art. Wouldn't that be cool? Like, it's so beautiful when Rogue teaches Kamala about her powers, but in Age of Giant Size Age of Apocalypse, but I don't know what that does. I don't know what that means. I don't know that it ever is going to have any relevance ever again.
You know, I think that this character Legion is going to be a villain. I think that they're setting this person up as a major thing. And it's so funny, but, like, and hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
The dickhole continuity that people are starting to suckle at is so good. It's so good. I one time had an editor at Marvel. I was friendly with an editor at Marvel. And I said to them, you know, it's so weird to me that Bobby is suddenly queer when, you know, Emma Frost literally in his head is like, you know, when they switched bodies, as we were mentioning earlier, is like, I know everything about you now. It's so weird that she wouldn't have anything to say about this in that regard. And the editor said to me, oh, no one cares about that issue. Who would care about that? And I was like, okay. And then that same editor said to me in the next breath, well, I mean, that's how John Constantine got gay. And I was like, you mean one line from one issue? Who would care about that? And, like, you know, full Dixie Carter, right? And so I think back on that and how it really is about what moments in canon matter to people and who gets to write it and what takes hold. And, like, there's a petition online to get soft serve put into Rivals. And I hope for Bob Quinn that happens, because Bob Quinn is a cool guy. He is a very nice human being. He is an amazingly talented artist who also contributed to the fantastic world of video games. So it would be great if his work was used in a video game. It would just be full circle and fair. And so, like, I don't know. I'm here for it. I'm about it. I also had to catch up on so much X-Men for this. just to throw out there that otherwise, if I don't say it in this breath, I'm never going to get to talk about it because it got canceled before it even got a chance. Weapon X-Men was fun. I worry that Joe Casey had a little too large a cast. No 3 people got to have dialogue in the same issue, but it was good. And they evidently, according to like interviews I've seen online, it was canceled as early as issue 1 shipping because they just knew that there weren't enough orders for issue 2 before issue 1 even shipped. So it was canceled before it started. That sucks. That was a cool book with Chamber.
Yeah, I love Chamber. I mean, like, there's so much stuff I loved in the, you know, I love Trevor Fitzroy. I love Cable. I don't want to buy 20 X-Men books, man. And I don't want to buy 20 disparate X-Men books. If Weapon X-Men had been Scott's Elite Strike Force,
okay,
you know, maybe, but then I probably would have stopped buying, you know, Exceptional or something. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't want to go from Northern Alaska for one thing. Just no. I don't. There's no reason the X-Men need to be in Alaska.
Is Rob Morrow back there? Is Janine Turner hiding behind the corner? No. Then you can keep your Valerie Mahaffey ass to yourself.
These are all Northern Exposure. Yeah.
It's just
I've seen a lot of it. I was weird to me when they went to San Francisco. I fell in love with it ultimately, but like at first I was like, no, New York's the center of the universe, so they can't go anywhere else. But no, like San Francisco, sure. Middle of Alaska, only in the same way that they were in Krakoa and they would just go all over the world. But that was like my biggest issue with Krakoa too, was they were so outside of the world. Like they addressed it by having them have the treehouse in New York, and like, again, New York, Alaska, maybe if everybody is there because they need an enormous like campus space, but no, they're in an old Sentinel factory. It always seems like they're sad refugees that don't have heat, and it's just them. Exceptional are in Chicago, and again, that's 3 X-Men and 3 kids, and then also not Louisiana, like Atlanta, maybe Atlanta, but like they're not in New Orleans. They are in like a weird swamp outside of Shreveport, and it's a cool X-Men team, I guess, kind of, but it's also like them and 4 kids staying at a friend's house, and then they are in Man-Thing's graveyard swamp, and then so on top of that, I'm supposed to read Psylocke and Magik, Adventures Elsewhere. Phoenix is in space. Cable is outside of time. Dazzler is on a weird tour. Mystique doing crimes for the government. What else do we have? I don't, you know, so many more.
No, and that was even my problem when I was trying to catch up on the books. I had to catch up on
Storm's in Atlanta. There you go.
Storm, Magik, Phoenix, the Emma Frost flashback book, Mystique, Deadpool. Like there are Laura.
Yeah, Laura. Yeah. So then you've got people in New York, but like they're kind of getting treated like they don't matter. So anyway, then what am I supposed to do with a Weapon X-Men book? It is such a good team, so cool. Like Joe Casey, love Chamber, but it was just so tough to believe this was going to work, and then it was immediately canceled. It was called Fashion 9/11, and it was immediately canceled. Immediately I was bummed by this book, but it was good. You're right, it was good,
and that's where I was just a little bit bummed out. And one of the other things that was like, I actually really like Magik. Magik is a lot of fun.
Yep.
That's a great book by a great creative team.
Yep.
I think the same thing about Phoenix. I think both of those books are a knockout. I actually have some trouble understanding Storm. Storm feels a little all over the place, and I'm having a little trouble following it, but I like all of the threads. Cable was very linear and very easy to follow, and I did not enjoy it. I really could not be made to believe in this microcosmic story at this moment in Cable's life. It made him seem so... It just didn't feel like a cool Cable story. It felt like a cool almost anyone else story. And yet had great Cable voice. I don't know. I found catching up on the solo books kind of an uneven experience. And then you get to that Emma Frost flashback title, and you're just like, why is this what we're telling when we haven't had like an Emma Frost ongoing title since the Greg Horn cover book? I don't know, man. I was a little let down by the solo oeuvre as much as I loved Magik and Phoenix.
Yeah, you and I are very much on the same page. Psylocke also great. Psylocke and Magik work especially for me because they are in the Uncanny X-Men, and you do see the overlap a little bit. That to me, you know, helps them to feel like they're connected to something. My biggest problem with Phoenix is really that she is just so disconnected from the X-Men. I love that she's integrating so well with Cosmic Marvel. But I also, it's weird to say like, or it's kind of unfair to say like, I don't appreciate her being disconnected from the X-Men, but I don't appreciate how the book is attempting to connect her to the X-Men. Psychic phone calls are not my jam.
The most built Cyclops ever doing...
Oh, the deadlifting Cyclops I'll never buy.
Deadlifting Cyclops is the same thing as cut off jean short Daisy Dukes Wolverine, and it's like, yes. I just want them to smush.
Yeah, 100%. Get those action figures and just meld them together. Also, more Hellfire Gala nonsense. What was that thing with Jean where she's like, oh, I found this random colony of mutants that went into space and all died, but we can go hang out there.
She's got sister problems right now with Sarah back from the dead.
Well, and then she has Cable too, and this is where we get into like, with Wolverine, it's a joke and it's like built into the fabric of the Marvel universe, and it's because everybody wants him. It's fine, whatever. He can kind of do that. He can be everywhere. Deadpool, if they have like sword powers or like knife powers, I don't really care. They can be everywhere. It sort of doesn't matter. If Cable actually shows up everywhere, you start to be like, but he actually has a lot of superpowers where if he was everywhere, he should be fixing everything. If Wolverine's everywhere, he's just stabbing everything. He can't fix shit. So I don't care that he's everywhere. He's probably making things worse. He's not actually being a superhero. So if he's in 8 books, he's just stabbing things in 8 books. If Phoenix is in 8 books, that means you should be using your insane Phoenix powers in 8 books to God-like fix the world. And that's why you really can't be in 8 books if you're Phoenix, even though I love Jean and I would love to see her there. Cable in his own book, Weapon X-Men, and now showing up in Phoenix, when they all have nothing to do with each other. They're not informing each other in any way. There's no seed of what Cable is doing from one book to the other. We do start to get into a thing of like, okay, but he can time slide. You're reminding me that he can time slide and body slide and be anywhere. So why is he not everywhere solving all of these problems? Why is he just in another random set of 5 years in the future that you guys dream up? And he meets a lady there. She's a warrior too. Do you have any idea how many times we've done this story? He has a literal child with another one of these women, and we never acknowledge it. He has another child with another one of these women. She the adoption all around, but like he and Hope definitely met a woman and did the same thing. Like Cable going through history, meeting a haggard woman is such a garbage storyline at this point, and so not what the man is about. And as silly as it was, I sort of thought I should never have thought this. This is a me problem. Older Mom Jean's mom hair, Sophie Cuckoo, or was it who's in Nyx? Sophie's in Nyx.
Mm-hmm.
He's with Esme. Sorry. Phoebe's with Quentin. Yeah. Old Esme showing up and being Cable's wife at the end of the Phil Noto Cable run was one of my favorite things, because I just thought to myself, fine, keep it. If we can't have Jen Scott back, if we can't actually deal with the family that you foisted on us in the 90s, have his OTP be Esme and give us old lady Esme. Give us Esme coming back from that same future to be the time traveling cuckoo. I just never thought we were going to do another one of these random ladies. And as great as it is to see Cable in Phoenix, to see Sarah there are also 2 kids that are also dead. For one, you'll never convince me. I will die on the grave of Charles Xavier would not have announced the establishment of Krakoa and that mutant resurrection existed to all the mutants and not resurrected all of the Greys immediately. The Greys would have been the first mutants and then the first humans, because they can do human resurrection, that he resurrected. There's just nothing else ever would have. It was called the Phoenix Foundation. Nothing else would have happened except all of the Greys who were weirdly murdered so that Rachel Grey could get a dick tattooed onto her back. That would have been the first thing that happened.
Yeah, it's in a weird place because I'm now feeling like how much of what we've got going on is just holding us over until Age of Revelation.
Yeah, but then like the Age of Revelation is holding us over because that's not a permanent status quo. So then what are we doing after that? We're just going from holdover to holdover. Are we doing this for 5 years until the first movie comes out?
I gotta wonder, actually. So, I'm hoping we move somewhere better, but I really think that the problem for me lies in the fact that no book feels like the goal is to move anything forward. It feels like the goal is to fulfill a publishing schedule, and that's just not the same.
100%. I think there's a perfect way to put it. Some of these are good books. Like they're fine, but because it is a serial connected story format, you have to be doing some of exactly what you just said, moving things forward, having an idea, the thing I said earlier, and this is too long a rant, but ecosystem. Like the X-Men always work as an ecosystem. The books are all components of a larger whole. X-Force doesn't always need to be living at the mansion, but the mansion exists. And X-Force exists because the mansion exists. X-Force exists because if there's going to be a place with the students in the school, somebody feels, well, I have to be able to kill to keep them safe. Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe that's a bad idea. But X-Force is their killing wing, even if they don't want the killing wing. When there's a centralized base and an ecosystem for the mutants, it all works. When they are all so incredibly disparate, and the writers themselves are too. I feel like these people do not speak at all. They do not coordinate. I don't feel like the editors coordinate. And it's these amazing writers with these huge ideas about what the mutants should be doing and what the X-Men are. But the exceptional X-Men are not X-Men in the same way that the Uncanny X-Men are at all. Like they might as well be called the Avengers in Alpha Flight.
Yeah. And that's where I'm just, continuing my divorce of the line. That's why I'm really excited about what we're doing with this amalgam project where the reason we're talking about X-Men this week is because this weekend we're going to be recording and releasing an episode where we talk about the X-Men and Teen Titans crossover from 1982 and the Batman and Incredible Hulk crossover from 1981. Weirdly enough, this is our second Incredible Hulk issue. So it's a little wacky, but I'm just comfortable divorcing from this era.
The last thing I'll say is I'm going to be really fascinated to know who's writing all these fucking books, all these Age of Revelation books.
I'm a little dreading it, but
yeah, I really am dreading it. I'm looking at them and I'm just seeing where I think it would be inexcusable for a woman not to be writing the book. where I think it would be inexcusable, but I still don't think a woman will be writing the book. And where I think to myself, there's no way a woman's writing this book, but there's no reason she couldn't be. And they're just going to name a Steve Fox or a Steve Orlando or Jason Lanzig and Colin Kelly. And yeah, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting getting this announcement.
Yeah, and I'm here for it because I have no other choice. You know, it's this or not read, and I'll read.
Yeah, we're reading. We're going through it.
You know, any final thoughts on X-Men you want to hit?
I mean, transitionary final thought. How great to read such a slimmed down line from another company that just really reminds us that more is not always more.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, for me, in this case, more actually was the case because I've always wanted to catch up thoroughly on this Titans era. Yes. And so I read a borderline frightening amount, and I read everything Nightwing from 2000 on, and read a lot of Teen Titans in there as well. And I'd read some of it previously, had a lot of feelings. I want to say that just to kind of get some of the stuff that we're probably not going to talk about, that I did the reading, so I'm going to get to talk about it for 10 seconds.
No, take your time.
Oh no, I'm not taking my time. I'm going to move through some of it because I don't want to dog anyone. But the Tim Seeley run really didn't get it for me. It literally starts off with an arc called Better Than Batman. You're already not writing my Dick Grayson. You go to a kind of filler arc by Sam Humphries with some work by Lanzig and Kelly. It doesn't really go anywhere for me. You see characters like Raptor and the Court of Owls return, Dr. Hurt and Deathwing in that period, Blockbuster and his rise to power. But then you get to Ben Percy's run with Worm, and he's doing this whole weird psychedelic crime future thing. And it's really cool, but then as a result of the Batman run, they want to give Nightwing amnesia and shoot him in the head. So Ben Percy quits because he won't do it. He won't throw away his entire run, and I don't blame him. Ultimately, the run that follows, they actually have to get Scott Lobdell and Fabian Nicieza to fill in to finish the arc because Percy quit so abruptly. But from there, Dan Jurgens does 3 arcs that I truly had trouble getting through, no offense to Dan Jurgens. And then came Tom Taylor's breathtaking A+ of a run. Really quite a realization, quite a revelation. It runs from issue 78 up through issue 118. And then he launches Titans and does Beast World over there. Titans and Beast World, not so great. I'm just going to be honest. I enjoy them, but they're not brilliant. They're good. But now we're in a post this guy. We're in like Claremont left X-Men and New Mutants. Now what do you do? And so now, since January, Nightwing has been by Dan Waters and Dexter Soy. And this last arc by Francesco Francavilla. And then over on Titans, it's John Layman and Pete Woods. And I'm going to start with, I did not like Nightwing in 119. I was very upset. I felt like the fucking drop off was insane. I felt like this book sucks now. It's like a fucking kid's book, and it's dumb, and I don't like it. I had to get through the whole first arc. You can see where editorial stepped in, because by the 4th issue, the tone is different, the vibe is different, the energy is different. But I'm feeling like this is kind of like a B book now, and it's working its way up. It has the unfair thing of having to come after such a good run, but this Nightwing run, okay. I like the Circus of Crime. The Zanny is interesting. I want to know who Pierce is. I'm really worried about Melinda. So like this is kind of hitting a lot of my Nightwing notes. Babs is still in the book. Their love is as strong as ever. They bumping uglies, so I'm into it. How are you feeling onboarding Nightwing? Is this like getting on a flight, or is this like trying to onboard SSRIs?
This is a solid onboarding. I think it's not spectacular. We get this little break in issues 125 and 126 that do a slightly different genre, and it's slightly different artist in the mix, and I sort of start to get Daredevilish vibes from it, but then we go back and it's firmly a science fiction superhero book in actually a great way. I think the thing I like about Nightwing, that I keep being disappointed by in Batman, is Nightwing stuff feels super heroic. It feels as though, because of the Nolan movies, comics writers at a certain point felt, I'm always going to need to make Batman gritty and real and really into crime and like recognizable drug busts, murder. It's always got to be gang stuff, but like a vaguely Italian actual mafioso thing. Nightwing has gang stuff too. It's the Teddy gang. Like they are, and that's not cute. Like it's supposed to be disturbing, and it is. It's actually artistically, it's really, really good.
But cute.
It's adorable, but also disturbing. The
Flyboys just look stupid.
But it feels comic booky, and like I keep being disappointed by Batman runs that we're reading because it just feels like people are taking it so seriously, and I want Batman to be a little bit Tony Stark because the gadgets are so good, because that's how you stop crime, with really good gadgets. And then I want the villains to be a Catwoman. I want Mr. Freeze. I want Poison Ivy. Like I want the Schumacher movie villains, and the Burton movie villains. I hate the Nolan movies, and I found them interminable and so lacking in fun or joy. And I just feel like so many people saw those and were like, yeah, I'm going to take the fun and joy out of my Batman run. Can't have any of that. And it feels like Nightwing writers are unencumbered by those same concerns because Dick has not had popularity as any kind of hero that you would take very seriously. And so that's where I'm having a lot of fun, because it's, this is Bruce Wayne's son. There's a lot of Batman legacy and mantle on this person, but there is not the same boringness to how he gets written.
I love that. And it actually brought me to something that I was thinking about earlier, where I was thinking about the fact that people constantly like, oh, Batman's a bad dad. You know what? No, I've read a lot. I've read actually like some 1,000 issues of Batman, Nightwing, Detective Comics in the last couple. I can find you way more examples of Batman saying, I love you, you're my son, and Dick saying, you're my dad, and calling him dad full time. That's my dad. Hey, dad. And Bruce being like, hey, son. And like, just like one of my favorite moments from the entire Tom Taylor run is at the end, there's a period where Bruce Wayne steps in as Nightwing and is Nightwing. And Nightwing at the end says, how was being Nightwing? And he said, it was good. Suit's a little snug. And like, because he's a bigger man, he's physically bigger, but he wasn't Nightwing, can't be Nightwing, and won't stay Nightwing because he loves his son and respects him. And so like, I do agree, because a lot of the most emotional moments are actually in Nightwing, right? And one of my favorite moments is there's a point in Beast World where Batman is temporarily turned into a wolf man, and he attacks people, and he goes to hurt Nightwing, and Nightwing says to him, he says to Nightwing afterward, after he's cured, did I hurt you? And Nightwing's like, hey, you're doing fine, man. And he's like, Dick, he's like, hey, no, you would never let me blame myself for hurting you if I were possessed. So you're going to put that away and you're going to let me take care of you. And like, it's amazing what these characters can be when they're realized. All the Babs work in Nightwing is always so good in the last couple of years. I don't know. I'm a big Nightwing guy now, more than ever. I loved this experience. I'm excited to see what more we get. There are some really special one-shot issues. Like there are issues that are like Tim and Damian doing good Robin, bad Robin, with Dick filling in as the Batman role. So they can play good Robin, bad cop Robin, like good cop, bad cop. It's just a really special experience. And while this run isn't quite there yet, it could get there. Kind of like, I feel like Trinity, Daughter of Wonder Woman, isn't quite there yet. It's the baby book. It could get there. Titans, you're on issue 24 and you're 8 issues into your run. You gotta get there soon, man. So how are you feeling about onboarding Titans and Trinity?
So Titans was interesting. Titans, when we start up, hold on, I'm just pulling up issue numbers here.
16, because it starts right after Taylor leaves after Darkwinged Queen, right?
Well, I'm looking at I'm looking at a specific issue. Yeah, so it's actually 17. So when we do 17, we do the thing that I really am now seeing that DC loves to do it more than Marvel, but we just reestablish everybody's story again. And what's so funny is I have never read Titans at all, but I am such an enormous fan of Titans, the live action 4-season television show. And so issue 17, they're all captured by Clock King, and he's got them all tied up, and he's like, I'm going to send you into your memories. And the memories are all just like the basic, like, I am, Dick Grayson, I am Nightwing, I am the son of Batman, my parents died. And it's all just like, I know every single one of these beats because I have seen Titans. This isn't, if it was a New Mutants lore drop, it would be the most insane stuff, like Jay, Cannonball's brother, died when he got depowered and fell out of the sky. Bobby's dad is vaguely a criminal, or maybe you go with like his weird associations with Nova Roma, and then you'd get into Magma and talk about Nova Roma. And Wolfsbane, you would talk about her insane. You talk about Moira. There's so many things you talk about.
Let's just leave Wolfsbane dead.
But none of these are things that like people ever could know. They've never been on a TV show. We don't establish them and reestablish them a lot. I've never read a Titans book before now, but even before Titans, I knew who Starfire was. I knew who Nightwing was, whether it was Nightwing or whether it was Robin. I knew that was Dick Grayson. I knew Beast Boy. I knew Cyborg. And so anyway, it was just funny that the first thing they do, even though we're decades into this, these characters have been around forever, is just sort of this vague reestablishing of like, oh no, Raven's upset about Etrigan again.
Everybody wants to write Freebird, man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and everybody wants to play Freebird over and over again. And so like that, I had a little bit of a moment of like, oh, I don't know. But then, I also realized like I know all this stuff. I actually haven't read it ever. So like maybe sit with it and enjoy, let the story happen. And then we got the real privilege of some time with the characters at the Watchtower fighting with their parents, which was just very well written and very fun. This then got me into, I messaged you and I was like, I can't believe some characters haven't been Titans before, because one of the things that happens is the Titans go to the Watchtower to talk to Batman and Wonder Woman primarily, and they're all there, but Dick and Donna primarily are talking to Batman and Wonder Woman, and everybody else is sort of standing around, and Wally and Roy are standing up and out away from the table, and they both go, I'm glad we're sitting this one out, which makes no sense because all of the Titans are there anyway. But then the other thing that's wild is Wally has been a Titan.
Yes. Last arc.
Right. And so the Titan, this sort of got me into thinking about the interesting thing about the Titans is like, we're about to read the Titans teaming up with the X-Men because they're essentially analogous, but not because they're the two teams of their universes. And in fact, it's tough for me to think about why they're analogous, because if anything, the Titans should be with the New Mutants.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, it just got me thinking, like, Bruce Wayne to me would be the same age as Cyclops. And you know, Jean essentially analogous to Wonder Woman, and you can make the comparison entirely. So it sort of makes no sense to me that they would interact with the Titans, whether you call them the Teen Titans or not. But like, the New Mutants or X-Force makes total sense, because those are all not only the same age, but like Sam has been sort of browbeaten by Cyclops about being a leader his whole life, but also Cyclops went away and Sam was the leader of the X-Men for a while.
Oh yeah.
And is now fully an adult with a child, which is also why, you know, I asked you in the group chat if Dick had ever had a child before, because I was like, how old is he supposed to be? Is he 19?
And you know, I think that like Bruce is like Tony's age, and like Scott is like Kyle Rayner's age. I think Scott is you're right. I think younger.
Yeah, I think Bruce is a little older. But then this also gets into the crazy thing, because I think Bruce would be 45.
Okay, I like him a little bit more like 49, but
sure, yeah, no, I do too.
I want him.
Yeah, that's yes. And my thing is, like, with the lives we lead now, also if you're a fucking billionaire, and you're in a superhero universe, that's not old. Like that's right. Fine. And then Cyclops, you know, should be older. But yeah, if Cyclops were 39, yeah, Bruce Wayne's 49, totally, absolutely. And then Dick would be 29. Because, you know, maybe he's even 25.
It's funny because I think I would make Dick a little bit closer to Scott's age.
But then how? Okay, so he's 10 when a 30-year-old Bruce adopts him?
Yeah, but because like the problem is now you also need to account for Jason.
Yeah.
Tim.
Yeah.
Stephanie. Damian.
Okay, so if Cyclops is 30, no, I would still need, so he's 29. Bruce adopts him when he's, let's say, 10, so it's been 20-ish years. Bruce was 30-ish at the time, 50 now. Yeah, no, for the kids it all works for me, because I would like Jason to be a little older.
But there needs to be more time that they were each Robin.
So if he's Robin till he's 16,
so then
if Dick's Robin till he's 16, and then Bruce gets Damian a year later, or gets Jason a year later, let's say.
But it's more time than that. Like there's more. It needs to be more. It needs to be like, for everybody to be alive, it really needs to have been like Dick really needs to be 40, and Damian really needs to be like 15.
Damian absolutely needs to be 15, and so Wonder Woman Trinity
Tim needs to be like 19, and then Jason needs to be like 26. But Dick is Robin from pretty much 1940 something, through 1984.
Yeah.
So he needs to have been Robin for so long.
Right. And I like that, but he's definitely, I mean, like, he is depicted as, I don't even think 29, but 29.
Yeah, I mean, and the problem is, it's like X-Men, where like one run will be like as he's 32, and then the next run is like as he's pushing 26.
Has he canonically gone to college?
Yeah, he has a law degree.
Oh, he's okay. So he's, you know, 20. He's definitely 25.
He and Babs both have law degrees, come to think of it.
Yeah, so they're 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're comfortable.
And, you know, like, the thing is, and this is what I love about the potential of comics and what I hate about comics is like the world we live in now, you know, the world that a lot of these things come out of, a 50-year-old would be like, yeah, I'm almost over the hill. I'm about to retire. You know, you, my 30-year-old son, are going to be there soon too. And now we live in a world where 50-year-olds are like, I'm young, you know, we'll see what the next half of my life brings. You're just a kid, 30-year-old. You don't know fucking shit. And comics sort of wind up in this limbo where, you know, Batman is, some people will write him as being sort of wizened and talking down to Dick.
Yeah.
And other people will write him as like, well, I know you're 20 years younger than me, and that's a lot of life experience. And like, I'm telling you, we're on, like, I'm not sure about your decision. I think you might be making the wrong decision because you're young. But also, you have been in the game for quite a long time. Like that conversation at the round table with Donna and Bruce and Dick is essentially that. It's them, you know, they're saying like, well, you know, we're going to let you guys do this. And it's not even like, but you're, you know, you're kids, you're on thin ice. They're just saying they don't think it's a good idea, but they're still talking to them like colleagues.
Yeah. Oh, and I completely agree, because it's that way that like your dad is always going to be like, my son knows more than your son, but like it's very rarely going to be like, no, he knows more than me.
Yeah.
That's Bruce there.
And so, I mean, it's just, there's an interesting dynamic, and I think it's not quite getting played with enough. But then the other thing I was saying to you is, you know, we're talking about like, I think they're kind of maybe more equivalent to the New Mutants. And since the New Mutants, we've also had Generation X. We've also had the Academy X kids. We've also had the Jean Grey school kids. We've had like the Lost Club from Krakoa, which I'm not even going to count as an era, but like, I think we're probably ready for, it's tough because there's a show called Teen Titans. The book has been called Teen Titans, and they're younger than the primary superheroes. And so there's this instinct to be like the teens. But they've just had too much character history to be teens at all.
Oh yeah.
And what would really help it is there are a bunch of teens. I was saying to you, I was shocked to find out that Damian has never been a Titan. That Jonathan Kent has never been a Titan. Supergirl has never been a Titan. Dreamer has never been a Titan. Like all of these people who are anywhere from 12 to 19 have never been Titans. And it's crazy because Dreamer's been on Suicide Squad.
And Supergirl's been on the Justice League.
Right, exactly. And Wally has been a Titan, but is now on the Justice League, and the Titans have no speedster. So anyway, I think it would be a really interesting time to do another teen. I don't want to call it Teen Titans. I don't know what they would call it. And that's the interesting thing is like the X-Men books franchise their teams
they will just do Titans and Teen Titans, or they'll do Team Titans and Teen Titans.
They've done that before.
Oh, and then they'll do Titans East and the Titans.
Yeah,
The New Titans and the Teen Titans.
Yeah.
For a while it was the Titans and Tales of the Titans.
Yeah. I mean, like I think they should do another teen team.
Yeah.
And because there's got to be somebody for people to talk down to.
Oh yeah,
there's got to be a group of kids to talk down to.
The Sinister Sons. I mean,
yeah. Well, yeah. No, I mean, like, because then we're getting into like, some of the Jonathan Kent, his boyfriend, and Dreamer are like getting too old to be Teen Titans.
Yeah.
Damian should be, but is not. But then, yeah, the Sinister Sons are like 10 and 12. They're like, that's a whole team. And then, which brings us to Trinity, who could also be somewhere in there as, you know, any number of those things as much as you want. I loved Trinity as a palate cleanser doing this work because she's having a very similar experience to my beloved alternate universe counterpart, Nathan Summers. But hers is sweet and fun, and Cable's is garbage right now.
Get the corgi.
Yeah, and it takes itself not too seriously, but it does acknowledge like actual time travel stories that come up in superhero books. We get to meet the 3 versions of this character that are increasingly aspirational. It's not the right phrase, but like, I don't know. It wasn't a game-changing book. It wasn't, it would need to do a hard left tone-wise in its next story for me to take it really seriously. Yeah. But the lightheartedness said to me, it welcomed me in a way that I was kind of like, I would love to see this character take a more serious turn, be, amongst a more serious storyline, because she seems great. It is important to acknowledge the absurdity of time travel storylines.
Oh, yeah.
Because most Cable books that have them end up not being good because they take them too seriously. It's one of the things that absolutely destroyed a lot of Hope's time jumping story. Is just like he and Bishop are doing insane genocides across time, and just getting increasingly more psychotic. And it's never like, that's absurd, and nobody can ever acknowledge it.
And that's where I'm like, as soon as I'm done, I'm going to walk away from DC. As soon as I'm frustrated and can't do the time travel from Trinity, that I'm too frustrated, and that's where like this project has been so good for me, because getting a chance to read Titans like that, getting a chance to read Nightwing like that, kind of reconnecting with it, seeing what works, what doesn't, getting to have fun with Trinity, because like you said, it's a great palate cleanser. It's really important, because like, it's okay to have silly books that aren't just Jeff the Landshark. Yeah. And not that Trinity is silly in a rude way. She's kind of silly in a cute way. It's a kid book. It's got a light heart. And I thought it was a lot of fun. I just really had a lot of fun with this week. I had a lot of fun catching up on this double team of Titans and X-Men, and like, I feel like you're right. The number of people that have never been Titans is overwhelming, in the way that there are people that have never been Avengers. There are people that have never been actual X-Men. They've been every other team, but they've never been an X-Man. And, I'm hoping that one of the things that we get from wherever we're going after, unfortunately, what was it? We Are Yesterday, not the world's most exciting crossover at DC. I'm hoping whatever we get after that kind of helps us move forward, because I'm already starting to see some fatigue lines on my relationship with DC after like 4 years of jumping in full force, but that's okay. Like, that's something that happens. But like, Hush 2 sucks. And so next week when we talk about Hush 2, that's going to suck. But we've got so many books that I do look forward to. We've got Batman vs. the Incredible Hulk from 81, Uncanny X-Men, New Teen Titans from 82 coming up in our podcast feed for all of you who follow along at cageclub.me/X. And I feel like I am learning more as a fan. I'm growing as a fan. I'm getting to experience titles in a new way. And that's kind of what I'm here for from this project. I'm here to have a new experience with this stuff.
Yeah, you're here to have a new experience with the stuff. I'm here to have the new experience of the stuff.
I love that.
And I love it too. Like, something that happens a lot of the time is I will often not read as much as you, specifically to provide the perspective of somebody who shows up at their comic shop today and says, I'm ready to start reading Nightwing. Like, what am I going to do? So rather than going back and reading a run that goes back multiple years, I grab, the most recent 6 issues and read that, and just sort of start to get this feeling of like, can I get into this universe at all? Because you can always go back further.
Yeah.
I don't. Is DC's? Do they still have their unlimited service?
Oh my god. And like I mean I hate to say it this way, but DC's unlimited service just like beats the living crap out of Marvel's.
Yeah, that's what I
Like
thought.
the books are up within 1 month.
Yeah.
There you can download omnibus editions, you can download collections of complete crossovers organized well. It puts tie-in books where they go.
Yeah.
So if there's a mini series that came out during that era that's referenced in the run, it's placed in the run in read order.
Yeah.
DC Infinite. Get with it.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, and it's the prices are better. Yeah, I think I will have to be doing this. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I'm having the experience of meeting a lot of these people for the first time, of reading a lot of these books for the first time, of doing things like discovering not every teen has been a Teen Titan.
Yeah.
And I'm having a ton of fun with it. And it's always very interesting to contrast with Marvel. This is one of those weeks that does feel like they're two really different companies.
I get that.
Last week did not feel that way. Last week really felt like, I think last week I said over and over again, like part of the reason we're doing this project is because all these companies are basically the same thing and all they have is working together at this point. And there's still a lot of me that feels that way, but this is definitely a week where you see some really different approaches to, if nothing else, young people and team comics, let's say.
I love that. And you know what? That's even part of where I thought that this could work. And like, it was kind of frustrating because what do you do with that Batman special in 81? And like, it doesn't always work out so evenly and so cleanly, but like that Uncanny Titans special is such a formative issue for so many people about what young power was.
Yep.
And we still see those reverberations. Those are still the recognizable iterations of these characters in a meaningful way. And that's kind of what I'm excited to talk about. It's why we still go back to Jean and the Phoenix, and it's why Darkseid is the basis for the Absolute Universe. Just to give you all a little bit of a rundown, because it turns out you guys it helps you tune in or whatever. But the bonus episode this week, like we said, Batman vs. the Incredible Hulk and DC and Marvel present Uncanny X-Men Titans 92. A week from today, you guys can check us out here doing Batman and Punisher to get ready for the Batman Punisher bonus episode, followed by Absolute and Ultimate as a team up to get us ready for Darkseid vs. Galactus and Spider-Man Batman. So,
yeah.
We got a lot coming your way. We're really excited. But then on top of that, we're going to be talking about Superman the movie, the Endless TV show that I'm kind of like trying to refer to. It turns out he got paid all up front, so watching it doesn't get that money.
Yeah, everybody got paid up front. I am still pirating it just because I don't want referencing numbers. But yeah, and the bigger thing is he got paid up front, whatever. All the actors got paid up front, and everybody else who worked on it got paid. Nobody is relying on these numbers, and the series is not coming back. So if you do decide to watch it streaming, that is of course you're right. If you want to pirate it, which is absolutely what I'm unapologetically doing, it will at least not tell Netflix that they should work with somebody like this again because it's worth the trouble.
Although the honest truth is that if you didn't do it in the first 4 days, they are not, they didn't even look at they've literally openly admitted they don't look at the 5th day on. Yeah. So the other thing we'll be talking about that's coming out, Iron and Heart came out. We're going to talk about that. We'll be doing Fantastic Four. We got, of course, our Drag Race coverage, though if they don't announce another international season, I don't know what the fuck we're going to do on Sundays. We're just going to have to start eating the microphone and start, singing at the floor. I don't know.
I'm sure we're getting London England any day now.
Well, until we come back to be super gay together, Kevo, come be gay at us.
Hello. I don't know if we had interest in covering Star Trek when that starts, so there's that coming up too. But we have stuff.
Yes, those shows just don't do weekly for us good.
I get that.
What was my English there?
Neither does English, apparently. You can find me translating for this one over on the socials at Kevo O'Reilly. That's KEVOREALLY. Yeah, I'm excited for all the stuff you mentioned. Hopefully there will be an international announced soon. If not, we'll find stuff to fill the void. We always have stuff to talk about, and you can find that stuff all on this channel. So enjoy.
Ugh, love it. TK, my brother in all things, man I love. Couldn't do this without you. Think you're so great. Where can I find you when I need you?
You can find me on the socials at TK Accidental. And last but not least,
Moi, Nico Action, NICOACTION, Nico Action Music, NICOACTION, MUSIC. If you guys want to check out more about this amazing channel, you guys should check us out at X's for Comics. That's over at the Cage Club. HTML, that's Husbands Talking More or Less. But over here at X's for Show, like, comment, and subscribe. Also, I open a lot of Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy packs. Go check out those shorts. We love doing them. They're a lot of fun. It's me opening the cards going, oh shit, it's a Yuna! So, check those out. But check me out, like I said, Blue Sky, Instagram, although it's not on my phone, so I wouldn't know. Check me out. 3 things you can do for us. Like, comment, and subscribe. 3 things you guys can do for yourselves. Stay safe, be brave, and evolve daily. Who you were yesterday, incredible. Who you are today, amazing. Who you are tomorrow is amazwa and gorgewa, and we can't wait to see you then. So until then, keep making this guy laugh in the last 2 seconds of the broadcast. Bye!